Okay, we are live, I think. Let me just check real quick. Okay, we're live. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the third lesson with live coding lesson with AskQL. Today, we're going to code again. I hope you guys follow our lessons. If you want to watch the first one, it's already uploaded on YouTube, so you can go there. If you want to see the second one, it's also on YouTube, and it will be available there. And today we're having the third one. If you're new here, I am the real code newbie, so I have no prior experience in coding. I do have some experience in HTML, but you know, you get the vibe. I'm not a pro. I was always more into graphic design. So, for example, I designed the logo of AskQL, but I do not have any experience in programming or coding in programming languages. Just HTML, but HTML it's not even a programming language. So that's why we chose me for this project. I'm very new to coding. And on my example, you'll see how this learning process works. And you'll see, hopefully you'll see that it's not that difficult to understand and just to, learn new programming language. Is that true, Martin? We really hope that AskQL is human-friendly. And as for me, for now, it's really a human-friendly programming language. I mean, maybe it's because of you, but I can really understand this language. Martin is not here yet, but I'm just gonna sorry, add him to the stream again. Okay, he's here. So what do you think? Why is it human-friendly? Is AskQL a human-friendly language?
I don't know. It really depends on the human. We tries definitely would hope so that this language is as easy to learn as possible, but it's really a matter of like what one thinks is easy. It's really hard to tell. Definitely, like you can maybe like if someone has a little bit more experience learning new programming languages, they can have a more informed opinion about this. But like as far as it's just a matter of taste, really, if you think that something is easy or not. So you would need 100,000 of people like you to say that this language is really easy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well. But I mean, for me, it works. Awesome. At least for now. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah. If you're here to watch, grab your coffee and join us. And if you're here to code with us, just go to AskScript Playground, and I attached the link on the Facebook post.
Yeah.
I will drop it also down below if you need it. And yeah, so Martin, if you could tell us, how does even the playground work? I mean, how it's possible that it understands AskQL already?
Yeah. Yeah, so perhaps the best for me to share the screen. Yeah, awesome. Let me do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys should be able to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what is written down on the black screen here is gets sent via internet from your computer to our AskScript server, which interprets what's written here and comes back in with the answer that we display on the right side. So as you've seen the previous version, if you click actually on the run button here, you can see like the answer pops up here, and it also includes the current time, so you can tell that it comes back with a different answer every time you run it. So this is not being run on your computer. This is being run on the AskQL server, as it says here. Yeah. So that's basically it.
Right. And for the people who don't know the story of AskQL, how did you even come up with the idea of the language?
Yeah. So basically, like so you can imagine like going to a restaurant, right, where you can order very specific dishes, like you can see, I want to eat spaghetti carbonara, or I want to eat the vegetarian burrito, you know. So you only have these names that you can use to order things, and this is basically like using REST, like API, the different technologies that we had so far. So the idea is not really a new idea, because it's just an idea of okay, so instead of saying that we want the vegetarian burrito, we want to say that, hey, you need to take basically like a tortilla and put some contents into this tortilla and wrap it up and put it in an oven and come back, bring it to me. So whenever you start more like describing a recipe to what you need, then it's more like sending a program, a script to someone to do exactly as you wanted, and then come back with the result to you. And just by being able to tell someone the recipe, it's better for you because it's more flexible. You can get this exactly as you want it. So I mean, for the computer system integration, is actually more convenient to be able to talk in recipes, because then we can much faster get to an agreement.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looks to me like it's like way faster to get the same result.
Yeah, that's a conceptually different thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so that makes sense, definitely. So what do you think, what is the biggest asset of AskQL other than being like getting the same result faster?
Yeah, I mean, so now I would say like we built this. I mean, this language is still a work in progress. You can see in our GitHub repository, if you click this link, that there are certain things that we are still. There are a few things that we still work on in like features or bugs. So we still working on it, and so we basically don't know all the killer features yet. But the important ones that we know we have is that this is a functional programming language. So means easy, because functions easy to understand. You have input, right? Comes into function and output comes out. So it's basically like a cooking machine, you know, you put in ingredients and a product comes out. So it's a functional. It has this cooking ability inside it. And another thing is asynchronous. Asynchronous is the word meaning that you don't need to get all answers immediately. It's a very useful ability when you want to have like a language that is capable of talking with servers, because servers sometimes they don't respond to you at once. You need to wait for the response. So you need to be what's called an asynchronous language, a language that can wait for events to come in the future. So we have this by default. And the reason why this is important to mention it is that most other like popular languages that are used for system integrations today, like JavaScript, they are not asynchronous by default. They are synchronous.
Oh, to know that.
Synchronous news by
Okay.
default. Of course, like if you write more asynchronous code, then you want to be asynchronous by default, not synchronous by default. So your default is easier for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any other asynchronous programming language other than AskQL?
I'm not sure actually. I suppose maybe Python might be asynchronous. Some certain constructions in Python, probably they make it easier to write asynchronous code than JavaScript. But I'm more involved in JavaScript programming and TypeScript programming than Python. So really wouldn't know. What I saw is that these days JavaScript is used more often, very often, to like system integrations code, such as talking from websites to servers, talking even between servers. JavaScript's really used a lot, so I keep comparing AskScript to JavaScript for that reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And the third thing is our ability for, the third thing is immutability. So we have this concept in the language that we only allow you to have operations that are immutable. So if you have 3, like, I keep using this example for some reason, but you can imagine like you have first name Marta, right? This sort of object, and you just want to display it. Oh, we don't have even var. Sorry, that's just a mistake from another language. But here you see this object Marta. So the thing is, no matter what I do here, in between the lines, there is no way for me to make the Marta object be anything else than I declared it here. There is no way for me to add a last name to it. No matter what I do, Marta will always have only the first name. And so this is called immutability. I'm not able to mutate Marta object. And that's a very good thing, because it's much easier to write programs that don't have this mutability feature. So mutability is something that we don't want. That's our assumption.
Okay, great. Sounds really good.
And just to complete the list, we have something else additional that we're working on called for. It's the types. So types is something that it allows you to annotate certain. It's like in TypeScript, but better, because it also comes with the runtime checks. So, for instance, you can say that const 3. You define 3. So what is 3? So in this language, you'll be able to say that 3 is a number, and you assign it value. So why is it useful? Because if there was no way for you to say that this is a number, you could very easily think differently and just write the number in a string, and that would be just a different data. We need to make that distinction, that a number and the string is something different, and you would like to make this distinction at the language level, like here. So this is something that the language parser already can handle, and we are finishing up the implementation of it. So we also gonna have the type security layer, both runtime and static. So basically, we're gonna start with the runtime first, because we just want this language to be functional, asynchronous, immutable, and safe for the types. So these are the differences.
It kind of looks to me like it's got all the best things from different languages put in one altogether. Does it have any flaws?
Yes, definitely. So the current implementation of the language is pretty slow. Yeah, so basically it's not good at the moment for very like long intensive computations. This is I mean, this is something that we're gonna fix eventually, but this has not been like a big priority for us, because mostly in the system integrations you don't need to make a lot of computations. You just need to be really good at talking with different machines. When machines communicate, they don't usually need to do a lot of computations just because they communicate. They need to be really good at they need to be really good at exchanging messages. That's what they need to be good at. They don't need to be good at performing long running computations by the CPU. Yeah, that's a different thing. We can make the language be good for CPU computations. That perhaps is gonna take porting moving. So there is something called the AskVM, called Ask Virtual Machine. It's basically like a computer inside the computer that's capable of running the AskScript programs. And that AskVM computer currently is quite slow. It's written in JavaScript. I think it's slow partly because of the implementation is kind of young and it's not optimized properly yet. But also it's kind of slow because the Ask Virtual Machine is written in JavaScript. And if we write it in C instead, then it's gonna be faster.
Super fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we're not doing this at the moment because it's not a priority. But this is something that potentially could be done.
Okay, let's talk about just one more thing. I want to just show you guys our repository on GitHub. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen.
Awesome. Yeah.
And okay, so here is our repository on GitHub, and as you can see, we have 149 open issues, and there is lots of to choose from. And so, guys, we have some great issues for the beginners or for first-timers, such as this one. There are lots of good first issues, and some of them are also tagged help wanted. So that basically means we would really appreciate your help. And as you can see, things are going on here. So if you want to join, help us contribute, just come to our GitHub repo and find something exciting for you. Like, as you can see, there is a good number of of the things to do. So you are very welcome to come and help us create AskQL, right? Martin, do you think is there anything you'd like to work on right now, or you'd like to invite contributors to work on right now?
So what we do in the repository, we always make sure to have a good number of the tasks that are good for the first timers. You can very easily filter those. Maybe you can show live now that with labels you can filter the issues so that you only see those that are good for starters. They're gonna be called either like the first timers only, or good first issue, or help wanted. And usually in those you're gonna see a good explanation of what needs to be done, and also some additional tags to so you guys know what part of the project this has to do.
And if you need any guidance or any help, just ping any one of us, and we're gonna get you the link to our Discord channel, and there is the whole conversation going on, and we are helping you guys in the whole process. So come to our repo on GitHub and help us create SQL, because I'm not going to do it. And they are already, doing a lot. We need help. So I am ready to do some coding.
Awesome. Yeah. So how about what are your impressions from the last lesson? Maybe there is something you would like to focus more on today.
I kind of like the whole process of creating functions, and I did like this creation of the factorial. That was kind of fun, even though I would not do it without your help, but it was very interesting process to me. So I'm pretty open, like whatever you say, I'll do it.
I'm much more optimistic about you after the second lesson, actually. So maybe we can stay with functions and write more functions, maybe with less help from me, so you get more confident in yourself.
Mm-hmm. We can try.
All right. Okay.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So yeah. Should I share my screen and share the playground?
Yes, you can share your screen, and I'm just gonna give you a small project to start thinking about, and then maybe we can go step by step. Something that I think would be awesome to start with, like, could you maybe do a little bit to remind our audience of what was going on previously, and and I'm here to help if you need me.
Yeah, we created a function. So we are letting something named function be, well, this is just the name. We could probably call it whichever name, right? It was something like fun, which means function from n, or not?
It's I mean,
why isn't it yellow?
It looks a lot like you're trying to write JavaScript here. So actually, yeah, we don't. So we our construction is a little bit different. Maybe we can support what you wrote down here also, but we don't do it at the moment. So what we do here, always, whenever you say let, the next thing that you need to say is the thing that you want to create, is the identifier. So yeah. So what is it that you need to create? So you create a function. Function is gonna be a new thing, right? In our language. Okay. Yeah. That's it. And the fun is the magic word here. The fun makes a function appear. So that's the magic word.
And then we have
the curly braces that are mandatory, and inside those curly braces you write down the computation that needs to happen to come up with the result.
So we have that if, but
so that yeah. So I mean, what is it that we're writing now? What is this? What is it? This function?
Because I want to tell it that whenever n is 0 or 1, was it 1 or 0? 1 or less than 1? No, 0 then or less than 0. It should return 1.
Okay, so that's something that can be done with the if statement. So just so I understand, the function is gonna to be the factorial. Is that it?
Yeah, because you said to remind what.
Oh yeah. But I mean, you didn't use the word factorial. I didn't know. I mean,
we're writing factorial function.
So maybe let's first figure out what is the name of the function that we're writing. Makes it easy for everyone to know what is it that we're writing.
Oh, so that was supposed to be factorial. Okay.
Yes.
Factorial.
That needs to be the identifier of the thing that we are defining on the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Right. So factorial. Okay. So can we write down a few examples of factorial just so we understand what it does? So this all is calling like gathering requirements. So you need to write down a few examples to understand better what is it that you're writing, and those examples can also serve as tests. So then you can see if your function really behaves this way.
So I hope you guys can see this. Let's make it bigger. So this is how you write it, right? Exclamation point. So it means factorial from 5 equals 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So factorial from n equals n times n minus 1, yada, 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 till 1, and that's it. Till, how do I say that? Like factorial from 3 is 3 times 2 times 1. You would go from that number and multiply it by this number minus 1, and again this number minus 1, and this number minus 1, till the number equals 1.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, in math, you would usually write the exclamation mark after the number.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't remember that.
Okay. And awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So what happens if what is minus 4 exclamation mark? What is it? What happens if someone runs the factorial function and passes minus 4 to it?
It's 1.
Oh, okay. So maybe let's write down here this as well, so we know.
Do you put it in the braces like this? No. Or
you don't. So in math language, you don't need to.
I don't really remember the math.
You wouldn't need to, I think.
So it's 1. So negative numbers, factorial from negative numbers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is just like a definition for us. Okay, awesome. So maybe let's first check if we actually, or what about 0? 0 exclamation mark is also 1, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can check if the number is 0 or below 0, and then use if for this.
So if n is equals 0 or less than 0, return, I don't know if I should put this here or just the word return without equals sign.
You don't need equals here.
Okay.
Equals you only need when you assign a value to identifier, and here you say, I want to exit the function, and because I already have value, so it's a little bit different. Yeah. And you also need the curly braces. The curly braces are needed here because you say if condition and the curly braces. Yeah.
Oh, here. Okay. So like this. Or something. like this. I don't know. It's probably not very pretty, but
yeah. I mean, if you wanted to make it more pretty, then you would then you could move the last curly brace below. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now it looks better. Awesome. So what happens if n is a positive number?
well, it has to multiply it by itself and the number which is less than the original number by 1, if it makes any sense. And then it keeps going till the n equals 0.
Yes.
So
Do you remember how we solved that?
Yeah, we had this recursive call, but I can't remember how it was written really. It was let's just say it was a recursive call, but you have to remind me how it was written.
Yeah, okay. So it has to do with like, so let's look at the comments here a little bit more. So what is for? What is for exclamation mark? What is it? If you could write this down.
Like again, like do you mean like this?
Yes.
Again?
Yes, just in comments, so that we understand better. Oh, okay. So it looks like. Can you not remove actually that?
Sorry.
All right. So it looks like the 5 exclamation mark and 4 exclamation mark are very similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if so recursion is something that the 5 exclamation mark is defined also with using exclamation mark, but perhaps with a smaller number, with a smaller problem to solve. You see, so 5x. So how would you define 5 exclamation mark if you could also use the exclamation mark on the right side?
Well, 5 times, and this is just factorial from 4.
Yes, exactly. That's a very good. That's an observation that leads to recursion, and there you go. That's the important part.
So factorial from n minus 1.
Yes, because let's figure this out. You know, if we run factorial and n is 5, what happens?
If you say it one more time.
So let's go step by step through the code, assuming that n is 5. So let's see what's going on in our code.
So here you have 5, right?
Yes.
Then you get this part, which is just the same thing as here. So you say count factorial from 5 minus 1, which is 4.
Yes. And what happens if n is equal to 1?
So if it's 1, you go 1 times factorial from 1 minus 1, which is 0. And you know if n is 0, it has to return 1. So
yes,
it's going to be 1.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Should be okay. Let's test. Let's run. Let's use the CLI to run the factorial functions and see. Yeah.
What is this?
So this is the source. This is like the source code for the function. So what you got here is the function itself. As you can see, we're not running it. We just defined it. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, so we just need to say factorial at, something.
I need to put it here, right? Factorial. Well, let's do 5 then.
Okay.
What? What do you mean?
Interesting. Seems like this operator was not understood. Maybe there is some other way you can run it, write it. I think this is. I think it's the. You need to swap the characters. I think it should be the triangle first, and then the exclamation mark, and then the equal sign. Yeah.
Let's see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you just go through those examples that we written down in comments and make sure that for all of those cases we get the correct value?
So factorial from 5 is 120 because 5 times 4 is 20 times 3 is 60 times 2 120 times 1.
Yeah.
It's the same. And then 4 it should be 6 to 24 because 12 times 2 is 24 and then 3 is 6. And then what do we have here? 0. It's 1. So it works.
Nice. And -4?
-4 should be 1 as well. Let's check. Yep.
Awesome. Very nice. Cool. Good. And how do you feel about it? Was it easier than the last time?
Yeah, it was like more clear. The way it operates was just more clear this time because I had a moment to process how we come up with this.
Awesome. Okay, so let me give you a different project to work on. So there is factorial, but there is also something called the sum of squares. Are you familiar with the concept of square number, like 5 square, 4 square? It's when you say square, it's like 4 times 4, right? 5 square is 5 times 5. Yeah. So the question is, what is the sum of squares between n and 1? So sum of squares until like 3 would be 1 square plus 2 squares plus 3 squares. That would be, let's see, 1 plus 4 plus 9, 14, right? So instead of factorial, let's create a function called sum of squares until n, that takes n and returns the sum of squares of every number between 1 and n.
Can I just erase all of that and start?
Yeah, you can just maybe let's start with writing down the problem that we're solving and then the solution.
So sum of squares. It's okay, so I'm just gonna go. How do you even you can't put the little 2, can you? No, you probably can't. Let's do +1 by 1. So it's the sum of square of 4, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So how do you make an identifier when you kind of want to make the name out of 2 or 3 words? What I mean is, like, can you just write it like this, sum of squares, Will that work?
Yes.
As an identifier? Okay.
Yes, it would. Yes, it's a. I think it should work. Yes, it's an underscore. It's quite commonly used in identifiers, so you could use it. Another way to go about this would be to use what's called the Camel Case. So that would be a sum, and O would be a large letter, and the S would be large letter. You wouldn't need this underscores because you would do the separation with the case. You see what I mean? That would be just a different style of the same thing. Yeah.
I can already change it if you like.
Here you would usually start with a small letter, though. You would, yeah. So that would be so that's another way to run it. Write it. It has fewer characters, but yeah, just a matter of taste, really.
Okay. So what now? Now it equals something, some kind of function.
Yes. You know, let's maybe go through the same process. Let's maybe write down a few cases, maybe see what's similar about those cases, and then come up with like a recipe that's also called an algorithm. And then when we know what this algorithm is, let's then write it down in code. So we need to figure this out like it's like a riddle, you know, in our mind first, and then we can write it down.
Okay, and then oops. And then if you have 0, then it's obviously 0. And then if you have any negative number, it doesn't really matter. Right?
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like if you have this sum of squares of 4, it's n squared plus sum of n minus 1.
Yep.
So it's n times n plus. Is there any short way of writing that? Like, how do I? Okay, never mind.
Watch out for the casing. It's gonna matter if you do a large letter or a small letter.
Sum of, oh yeah.
Okay.
Should we put? No, we don't have to put if. I mean, I think it knows that.
You wanna test it? See
0.
if it works.
Okay. Where do I put it here? Sum of squares from let's see. Okay, great. Syntax. Oh no. Why? Fine. Will that help? Okay.
Why do you think that happened?
Because it's looped.
What do you mean? What do you mean by it?
So when you count sum of squares of 4, it goes 4 times 4 plus sum of squares from 4 minus 1, which is from 3, and it goes, and then it counts this, which is all over again, and it doesn't stop at 0. So we need that if statement, I think.
Very nice indeed.
Does it matter if I put it here or below?
It matters because the function is executed from top to bottom.
So it has to be here, I think. So so if n goes 0, return 0.
Again, please remember about the braces around the condition, and also the curly braces around the instructions for the if.
So should it be here? Just that return part, or like, wait.
We need both the condition and the instructions. They need to be separated from other stuff, so they need to be wrapped up in something.
Oh, so
yeah, it looks okay now. Okay, you wanna yeah, okay.
What now?
So I think for the comparison we use double. For comparison, you actually need to use either double equals, if you can check the double equals if it works, or something. Yeah, that is not implemented yet either. So we're gonna do it another way. I think it's coming up. So you would need to say colon equals. Yes, and add the parentheses, right? Because for the argument you need the parentheses. So colon equals, and you pass in the argument.
So here, and one more here.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Ha.
Interesting.
Cool. From 4, 16.
So is it correct?
16 plus 9 is 25, 24, 30. Yeah, it's correct.
Awesome. How about some other tests? Let's do more testing.
Let's see, minus 4. Oh. Whoa. Why?
Why do you think that happened?
Something happens here. Oh yeah, because it goes the wrong way. Oh no. Huh.
I mean, what is the expected answer of -4? What's the sum of squares?
30.
But for -4.
I mean the same as this one. From 4.
Okay, that's that's something that we get to decide when we define it. So you could as well say that -4 is gonna produce 0 because there is no numbers between 0 and -4 and produce 0. That's something that we need to define in the problems as we state the problem, so we know what we're implementing. That's why it's often people would write the tests first as part of what's called test-driven development, and only then they would write the implementation. Yeah.
Okay. All
awesome.
right.
Yeah. So you solved it the same way that you did with the factorial. Very nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
Okay. We have like 10 minutes. We can.
Yeah.
do something really quick, maybe.
So maybe we can open it up for some questions, or what do you want to do for the remainder? Do you feel like you're?
Let's see. I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen. Do we have any questions? No, not at this point. There is just a comment from our page, and yay! I'm excited too.
Yeah, hello, Margo. Nice to see you here. Okay.
So that's yeah. I probably will have to know a little bit more about that test-driven. How did you say it? Test-driven development?
Yeah, it's the test-driven development, TDD. It's also like it's this concept that before you write your program, then that you're gonna write down the specification for it. So you're gonna write down what inputs should produce what outputs for your program before you actually write the program. And it has at least two advantages. One is that you have tests, and that's a big one. And also the other one is that you have usually better understanding of what is it that you need to write before you write it, which is also very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. I have one more question. Let me just go back to the playground. Could we set this by using this colon and the identifier method?
Yes, definitely. You could. I think the name is less than or equals.
Altogether, less.
So it depends on how you want to call it. You can call it directly, but you would need to pass two arguments inside the brackets, or you can call it as sort of like infix operator, but you would need to use colon and yeah. Maugo is already a fan of TDD. Oh, that's awesome. And so actually what you need to say is the less than or equals in the single kind of word. Let me.
Oh, here?
Yeah. Less than or equals. It's a single thing. It's a single word.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So many traps.
It also follows the Camel Case convention, so it has certain letters are in chapters.
Or equals.
Yes.
What now? Okay. 2. What did they do?
Not sure. Let's see. So it says that the problem is on the second line, and a certain character was expected, but a colon was found. So that has to do with parent. No. So it says it wasn't expecting the curly brace open. I wonder why that is. That's yeah. So it looks like a bug actually. It seems like you cannot use the colon inside the if statement. There you go. Good job. Let's create an issue for it and and make sure this gets attention. So one thing about creating an issue, let's make sure that we say that the issue happened in the CLI. Let's copy paste the code that we used, and let's say what the expected behavior was and what we saw.
Am I supposed to do it now?
Yes, definitely.
Oh no.
Very easy. So it's as easy as creating a LinkedIn or a Facebook post, or a Twitter post.
Oh.
You just you see this one, yeah. There you go.
How do I even call it? I don't know.
I mean, let's be very easy about this. Maybe let's just say that the less than or equals doesn't work in if, and that would be a good start to describe the problem.
Doesn't work in if.
Yes. In yeah.
Okay. So do I just paste here the code?
Yes. Yes, please. In GitHub, there is a way to format the code nicely. You need to use the backtick, or you can use the options here.
Insert quote, insert code. This one?
Yeah, think so. Oh, nice. So now when you click on preview, you're gonna see a nicely formatted chunk of code. Okay, nice. So let's also outside it. Let's also say that it happened in the CLI, and let's say what we're expecting and what we got.
It happened in the CLI. Should I link to the playground? No, I don't think I have to. Right? I don't have to link.
You could mention at what version it happened if you wanted to. Just if you wanted to be very, very specific about this, yeah.
And it was expected to run.
Yes, I like that. That weirdo, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You could what you could do, you could also copy paste the error message that you received. So someone looking at it has this concept context.
Oh. Should I put it in something or?
I would also put it in the backticks. It's not code, but it's good to separate this somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
View.
Mm-hmm.
And submit.
Yes. And that's there's nothing else you need to do about this, really. Maybe except tagging Łukasz. Łukasz, this seems like this error message seems to be coming from the parser. So a parser is part of the AskQL, which understands the incoming message and parses it into blocks that are then processed. Seems like this error comes from parser, so we can tag Łukasz and say, "Hey, Łukasz, what do you think about this?" That's just to grab his attention because it's a parser thing, and I suppose he will be the best person to address this to.
Oh, I don't know how to assign a person.
You don't need to assign. Just mention him in the comment.
All right. Gosh. Oh.
So his GitHub user start with C. Yeah, like here. Okay.
Okay. Looks
Okay.
good.
Awesome. Nice. Very nice. So when Łukasz takes a look at this issue, he's gonna assign labels to it. Maybe this one even is gonna receive the good first issue label, and our contributors can then look into it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So if anyone knows how to fix it, you are very welcome to fix the bug I found. It was my first bug ever, so yeah.
But it was not your first recursive function ever, Marta, so good job on that.
Thank you. Okay, guys, it's been fun. And what about next week?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same. Let's figure out what we're gonna do for the next week. We can either be doing more functions, or we can be exploring more ways of writing those programs.
Mm. So we might be having this lesson on a different day next week. We'll let you know, because we won't be in Warsaw on Monday. So we'll let you know about that, but definitely we're going to have a lesson next week, and it's going to be our 4th lesson. So just, stay tuned. And yeah, and if you have any questions, one more time, just ping us, let us know, write to us, whatever. We are always really happy to answer all your questions and just help you with anything you could possibly need help with.
I got some news today that we're working on some cool gadgets for AskQL. So probably we're gonna be giving out those to in contests as well. I see that more and more people are working us from lesson to lesson. Then certainly we're gonna keep up the good energy here with some entertaining contests.
I'm gonna show you. We're gonna show you guys the swag, because we got swag next week.
Awesome.
So thank you, Marcin. Thanks a lot, everyone who stayed with us tonight. Have a great evening and see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.